Hey, everybody. It's so good to see you guys. I've missed you guys. So I'm going to start out with our description and then we're going to get into it, just catching up a little bit, and then we'll get into the goddess for the week. So, welcome to Goddess Glow, the Red Lip Alchemy Chronicles, a sacred space where Black femmes, as African descended creatives, come together to connect, converse, and radiate brilliance. This podcast, YouTube channel honors the divine power within us, weaving African diasporic practices, indigenous traditions, ancestral veneration, and restorative rituals into a tapestry of personal and communal alchemy. Through bold storytelling, spiritual exploration, and collective wisdom, we celebrate the red lip as a symbol of rebellion, beauty, and sacred sisterhood. Join us on this journey to celebrate our power, honor our ancestors, and glow unapologetically. Black heart, magical stars, red lips. I like saying the emojis. It's fun.
We know, Professor K.
We noticed.
Okay, guys. So we've been we've had various we're all fabulous and amazing and all have all kinds of things going on. So we have missed each other for a little bit. So let's just do a quick check-in to see how things have been going, what's been going on with people. I will say that I feel like the all the Mercury retrograde astrological stuff was like fine when we were meeting, and then it feels like the last couple of weeks I was just like, what happened? Like it was all the feelings, all the things. There's been some other good things as well, but I just noticed like energetically, I was like, okay, I'm really feeling all of this stuff that's happening in the stars and things like that. So, but how are you guys doing?
I would say same for me. We discussed this with all of the shenanigans happening in the world. I was totally like, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. And then I remember even, when there was the full moon and eclipse, and I was like, still fine, still doing great. And then all of a sudden I wasn't fine. And like nothing new happened. I was just like, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. And now I'm not fine. And so I think it was a combination of Mercury and micro braids. It was a combination of just like exhaustion from, like life and work this time of year that is always busy and hectic. But I do think that us not getting together, it's like I was missing out on my magical alchemy and my whole world just kind of was like fell apart. So luckily last weekend, I got to go take a trip to see my favorite sister.
Yay.
And so I went to Atlanta. We celebrated our youngest son's birthday, who's
Yes,
16.
my true
And
co-parent.
got some crystals, we ate some good food, and nothing major happened, but I just went from being not okay to okay again. And so I'm still tired, right? All the things are still happening, but it was a good recalibration. And so I'm glad that now we're also back on track. And I don't know, maybe even if things are busy and we can't do our full thing, we just need to do like
A
a
conference call or
check-in, like
something.
a goddesses unite and just like send our Care Bear Thundercat signs to
I
you.
agree. I agree.
What's been going on with you, Ebony?
I had a good March, but up until just this last week, all of a sudden, tears, chaos. And so I was trying to stay focused and grounded with my cards. And, I knew we weren't advancing with our chapters, but I was like, okay, I'm going to do my ancestral guidance and and then like it started to fall off. And I know that, so I agree with you, Tiffany, just trying to find time, even if it's just a quick call, something that would be really helpful. But I did have a good couple of weeks in March too. I was able to run an 8K despite my little knee and hip pain I was experiencing. I did that and I beat my time and kicked ass. Wasn't in pain the entire run. I definitely was sore afterwards, but I got all my massages and all my rest time. And then I turned up for my birthday, all the way up, and had a good time there. So it was just the coming back and going woof back into everything. There was no transition there. I came in hot. So that is not recommended. 0 stars. Do not recommend. So that's what I've been up to.
I love it. I love the acknowledgement of the things that went well and the celebrations as well as the challenges. And yeah, shout out for getting in the 8K and taking care of your body and your body showing up for you like, I got you, boo. So I love all of that. Yeah, I definitely enjoyed seeing Dr. Diva in Atlanta showing up for our third born's birthday, who turned 16 earlier this week. It was actually his idea to go to the crystal shop, which was very cool. We had some really good food there. And because Tiff is the best sister ever and the best auntie ever, I was able to get some much needed adult time to do some adult things while we were there. So I definitely got some needs met in the ATL. Shout out to the ATL people that y'all are just the gift that keeps on giving when I go there. So I had some good YONI empowerment, erotic empowerment experiences. I had some good women and kink experiences. I connected with one of my mentors from college and another professor who's also at Spelman and talked about some Audre Lorde stuff. So it was like I was able to meet all of the various, stimulate the various areas in my life that needed and wanted stimulation. So, I definitely appreciate having Tiff there to like I could be with them during the day and she could be with them at night while I was doing other things. So, shout out to the MVP, Dr. Diva.
It's Dr. Diva for MVP.
Okay, guys, so let's get into it. So we transitioned last time we were doing a transition out of the temple of the what was the first temple?
I'll be calling them chakras, even though that's not what she called them.
Well, yeah, we went from the root chakra to the sacral chakra. Exactly.
And portals, and portals.
Yes, and portals.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're in the temple of the conjurers now. I don't remember what the last temple
Your
was called.
creation energy channel.
Oh, Temple of the Ancestors. So Temple of the
Yes.
Ancestors was the root chakra, and Temple of the Conjurers is the sacral chakra. So we're in the sacral chakra, Temple of the conjurers, focusing on creation energy and all the things that come with the sacral chakra. So the goddess that we're focusing on this week is Ngame. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And this is the goddess of desire. So I was definitely here for this. I was reading this around the time of March 10th, which was also the National Day of Rest for Black women. And so it was a good time to like do the dreaming and just like marinating in like, what do I want and all of that kind of stuff. So I love to focus on the desires. There were some really great prompts for desires and ways of like really tapping into the visualization around them, as well as some good like yoni prompts and guidance. So let's go through just the message and the story and then anything that stood out to you guys. So the message for this goddess, this is the daughter of Mama Moon. Of course, we love the moon. And it says, you are a cosmic creatrix. Your desires are fulfilled. And so it talks about the story of the great goddess, the keeper of mysteries. We see you, we say your name, she says, for each of the goddesses. So there's an emphasis again on desires, calling in our desires, releasing challenges. There was also a discussion around like taking your time and being patient, which I appreciated. I've really been reflecting a lot on. Like I have a friend, Jasmine, who's in La Bellevue Writers, who we joke about like when there's something due for some writing thing that we're working on, like, well, what is time, right? Like time is a social construction. There's a new book out which I haven't read, but I want to read called The Master's Time Clock or The Master's Timepiece that looks at like the colonization of like this linear time and how we need to like release that. So I love that there was this discussion around taking your time and patience because I think there's this way, again, this kind of colonial time and linear time where we're constantly feeling like we're behind or whatever the case may be, or need to catch up or whatever the case may be. So I love the encouragement for patience. A lot of discussion of what we always talk about, intuition, the conjuring, the manifesting, the discernment, releasing and allowing. And I like that balance between like active and passive, the release, like there are things that we need to show up to do, but we also need to be in a place to like just receive and allow things. And then the discussion around like menstruation and moon cycles and those kinds of things, or being connected to the moon cycles, even if one is not menstruating. So yeah, anything that stood out about this goddess to you guys before we get into the discussion of desire and some of the prompts there?
I think the couple of things that I jotted down notes on were a couple of sentences. One was like the moon, we all go through phases. Honor your current phase by getting still, surrendering, and witnessing the moment. How can you honor your desires in the moon phase that you're in? And so I really just appreciated that reminder that we do go through different phases. And so what my needs are in one phase may be different than what my needs are in another phase. My goals in one phase may be different than my goals in another. So just really kind of trying to stay true to that and not push something and just like, honor where I am. And also appreciating that invitation to sit still and surrendering, because I'm someone who I'm sure this has always been an issue my whole life, but didn't realize it until recently that I have some control issues. And so just accepting this invitation to be still and to surrender was something that stood out to me. And then the other thing that I like bolded and highlighted was you predict the future by creating it. And I think that especially, again, given everything that's going on in the world and all of the uncertainty, that even amidst that, I still have the power to predict my future and I can create the world that I want to live in. So those were the things that really resonated with me.
Yes, I especially love that last quote, you predict the future by creating it. How about you, Ebony? What were some things that stood out to you from this goddess?
Yeah, I was focused on the Let's Talking Desire, and the lioness vision boards was interesting to me. Just in regards to, well, one is that I do know I've held, through Healing Grace Studios, I've held retreats that had vision boards in it, and always having to pull folks from like putting a Chanel purse on their vision board, or putting, right, like material, like go ahead and maybe put a purse on there, but what are your true desires? Like what do you really want outside of material things? Not to There's no discount on material things. We can see in the background there's lots of material things in my surroundings. And right, like that sometimes is right, this a vision board that doesn't feel authentic because it is just filled with things maybe that aren't holding a lot of meaning. And so I thought that was interesting because it seems like some folks sometimes naturally go there, and I think it's because there's a fear of going deeper and like maybe putting family on the board because they're wanting to grow their family, or maybe putting a new career or a pivot in their dynamics with their past, or addressing trauma. That's hard to put on a vision board, right? And so I think it just gave me a lot of reflection around my own visioning, and then creating those big, hairy, audacious goals. They call them, what is that, bag? And doing a lot of visualization around that as well, the movie scene. And I struggled with that a little bit, like, like having a hold space to sit back and just visualize what it would look like, because I recognize there's still a lot of fear around what next steps are for me, because I'm in a space where things are just very comfortable. And I want to honor that comfort, and at the same time not pull myself out of it, knowing that timing, like just talking about the construct of time, like what's the rush of pulling myself out of it. And then also recognizing, oh, at the end of the year, I wrote this letter to my 2025 self, and all of these things are going to be done. So, bitch, where you at? And so I'm just continuing to try to strike the balance of pacing myself, recognizing how busy I am, and is that busy filled with the things that are meaningful to me, or is it just busy? And there's a big difference. We all know that. So those were my
That
reflections.
part, those are great reflections. I appreciate you naming the fear, which was also named in this section, right? Like what desires are prompted by fear, in contrast with what desires are prompted by love. And I think those are things we don't often think together, that some of our desires are actually motivated by fears. And so it's like, is there fear underneath this desire, or is there love underneath this desire? I also appreciate you naming the comfort and not wanting to get out of the comfort. And also, I would say, like, embracing like the possibility that the next phase or whatever the desire is can be, you can still inhabit a place of comfort even in exploring that.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you naming that as well. Yeah. How about you? Yeah, the Lioness vision board. Well, so one thing I was thinking about with the vision boards is I am a very word-centric person. So even when I do vision boards, it's usually me cutting out words. So my vision boards are like still like 90% words and like a
Same,
couple of images.
same.
And I just accept that about myself. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Okay, so
Like with the vision boards, I don't think my vision boards have been lioness vision boards, and I've been kind of thinking on it and reflecting on it.
mhm.
And kind of key themes of my vision boards have always been like rest, right? Like how you create better sanctuaries for rest and sleep and having some sleep goals. Definitely like healing around the sacral chakra, especially because of like, like the fibroid issues that I had before. And so that has always been a big theme. But then also just doing things that bring me joy, putting on a vision board. And so I was reflecting that when I went to the Maldives in the fall and stayed in my overwater bungalow, the suite that I stayed in looks like the exact same picture of a suite that I put on my vision board when I was in Philly 6 years ago. So I manifested that. I predicted the future by creating it. And so I think that
Yes.
I actually haven't made a vision board in a couple of years. So for me, it was like, oh, maybe like I need to get back to creating a vision board and kind of reassessing what things on my vision board I still haven't manifested and what do I need to do to move those things forward, or what things were on the vision board that aren't on the vision board now, because goals and dreams and visions certainly have changed as I continue to grow and evolve, and just kind of paying honor to that as well.
I love that because there definitely been lioness vision boards for me either. And when you told me about that, I never got a chance to tell you that I had two on mine over the last 10 years or so. One of them was where when I was going through the process of divorce, and doors were my thing, like because I kept on feeling like I'm stepping through new doors. And so I created a vision board with a lot of doors. And so that's been something that a part of my travels I take a lot of pictures of. And so when I went to China, I realized I took a picture in front of one of the doors that was on my vision board. And when I went to Bali, I had taken a picture. So they're both actually in my office. I can look up and see them now. But I just really like believe that there is something about having that visual that helps us to manifest like where we're going, what we want, especially when we're leaning into that authenticity of who we are and what our desires are.
I love these reflections from both of you guys because it's an opportunity to also remember that you don't have to agree with everything that the author says, right? And it's like take what works and leave the rest. And so it's like, yeah, my vision boards are a true television boards. They are not lying as vision boards. And so that might be a thing, but that I'm sure there's somebody who read that and that resonated for them. But I love that y'all are like, not, and the same for me. Like my vision boards are definitely not like they're not. Well, first of all, I don't really do them in community in that way. So there's nobody to see it but me anyway. But yeah, so I appreciate y'all both naming that. So this is still in the section on Let's Talk Desire. Like after that section, she says your true desire should turn you on. This I like this because I love the sensual language that she uses here. Just says your true desire should turn you on, give you a juicy tingle between your legs, excite you, and stretch what you believe is possible. Give the divine the opening to dream the biggest dream for you by dreaming the biggest dream for yourself. And I love this idea of of your desires not being something that is like laborious or burdensome or heavy or this thing that like you're just overwhelmed by. But it's just like, okay, if it doesn't turn you on, if it doesn't excite you, then is that really the desire of your heart, right? Like so I appreciated that language that she uses as well. So even if it may feel a little uncomfortable because it's stretching you, it's not something that, like, are you turned on by this? Do you get a warm and tingly feeling about this? So I also love the invitation, and you mentioned this too, Ebony, to reflect on this from like what I would call the actor standpoint, like where you're so visioning it as a film that's going by, but then also visioning it with you as like the actor going through it so that you're seeing yourself walk through the process. So I love that. I love the details that she invited us to reflect on for whatever our visions were. And I did some journaling around this as well as like just typing some things up to go through just some of those details. And then I also love on the next page, this is on page 88. So she says, describe the movie scene, make it detailed and juicy. And then I love the prompts. why do you desire this, and be specific. So it's like when I have a desire workshop as part of my high achievers course suite. And so like I repeatedly ask the question, like, what do you want? And then what do you really want? Like what's underneath the thing that you say that you want? So I love this question of why do you desire this, and be specific. And then also the emphasis on feelings. How do you want to feel when your manifestation is a success? And I added to this, like, how do I want to feel in general? Because like that's a baseline to just guide our behaviors and our actions and our choices. But then also, how do I want to feel when this is manifested? And then I like the question also, why do you believe this is possible? Because it also helps you rub against where the unbelief or the disbelief may be. So these were all great prompts, I thought. How about you guys? How were those prompts for you?
Same for me. I really enjoyed them. I'm a very visual person, so I always like the idea of visualizing it in a movie scene. So I worked on that around both, and I tried to, I definitely initially started leaning towards my desires in terms of like career and goals and things, and then realized like you're already moving those things forward. So how do you instead lean towards like what do you want for yourself personally, and really lean into the things that are making you uncomfortable around this sacral chakra conjuring, and focus on those things. So I did initially like a lot of the like my life, but centered on career. And then I did some journaling around my future self, having coffee with my current self and what that would be like. And I really enjoyed that exercise and like what my future self would want to tell me and what questions I would ask my future self. So I really enjoyed that.
I love that. I love that. That's a good practice. I might give that a try this week, for sure. Interestingly enough, when I started doing my movie, in my head, my first thought was you, Tiffany, because the book, the book you were writing that you
Yes,
read some of
yes,
it. Yeah,
yes.
I thought about I thought about your Idris Alba. I can't remember. I don't know who was in that. I can't remember. Look, I could probably got it wrong. Is that who?
Listen, no, you're right. You're right.
Okay,
If the great great grandfather it just
that's right. Had a baby.
got it so sure.
That's right.
And then Malcolm X and Josephine Baker had a baby. And then those two babies had a baby.
Yes.
Yeah, I was doing some of my reflections on like my yoni and what my yoni was. I'm like, that's what my yoni wants a demigod.
Right. 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 But it made me because the way you created that visual, it was like a movie. Like as you were reading it and I was listening, the movie was playing in my head. So shout out to Tiffany with the creativity she always brings into spaces. But yeah, I think I shared already. I started the visualization and I had to stop myself because I was like, oh, why is this uncomfortable? And I think part of it was because I did focus solely on next steps around career. And so I like the idea of what is, the wellness and the rest and some of the other pieces look like. I think because oftentimes that is where I really feel like I thrive is socially and like family connectedness. I often lean towards the other way, but that other way is what also takes away from some of the social connectedness and wellness too, right? Like so. I always keep going back to the balance of trying to strike something healthy between all of it that gives me and affords me more rest. So, but I enjoyed being able to do it once I was able to move past the discomfort of seeing it play out.
I really enjoy doing it, and I have to remind myself, or I have to remind myself when I do these things to just stay in the realm of anything is possible, and just like the broader picture and not get stuck in the details, because like again, we're high achievers, we're planners, and so it's easy for me to quickly shift from like this is the vision to like okay, and these are like the steps that need to be taken. And so I was constantly reminding myself of like, we're not talking about the steps yet. We're not talking about the execution. Like, let's
Mhm.
just build the big picture without getting caught up in the like the logistics of it. And I find that that was helpful for me also because like when I, when I'm looking with my quote unquote rational mind at all the things that are happening, and this is not even about like this particular administration, it's just kind of the trajectory of like the falling of empires more generally. I'm like, there's a challenge in trying to build something in a falling empire, right? And then empires impact other places, right? So it's like what, you could be like, well, just, whatever, leave, but like what happens here has global consequences and effects, right? So in there, where I find, I don't know if it's necessarily comfort, encouragement is remembering historically all the people that built under the most built ideal things under very non-ideal circumstances and situations. And even when those things were burnt to the ground, they rebuilt them, right? It's like if you could build it, you could rebuild it. So that's what I kind of rest and rely on when I'm in the place of discouragement around like, okay, this whole thing feels like it's falling apart. And not even like we could talk about sociopolitically, but also like ecologically, right? Like it's just like the world is literally and metaphorically burning. And so I've been sitting with the discomfort of that and not getting into this, it's finding the balance between, if you have you have these desires, you have these visions, there's a reason why you have these desires and the visions. So there are, resources and support from the universe, from the ancestors, from all the people to support that, and not be in denial about like what's happening. And also, hopefully, those things are not mutually exclusive, right? Part of what you're building, a part of the vision is to impart, mitigate, and deal with, some of the other things that are going on. So I was sitting with the complex, and there's like, it's an interesting ebb and flow to that for me. There are times when I'm like really in the like the juiciness of it and the goodness of it. And then there are times that I'm like in despair about it. And so I'm just honoring like the ebb and flow of, how that comes up for me.
That issue of like rebuild of building and burning has been coming up for me too, because I have been doing this dreaming about kind of like who like the contributions I'm going to make in this world, and how we can not just survive but thrive, and recognizing that we're not living in unprecedented times, that our ancestors survived much harder circumstances, and how do we learn from their playbook for navigating this repeat of the other side's playbook. But that fear around like, but like I'm gonna build it, and they still can burn it down because that's what they've done before. So that fear was coming up for me. And then just tapping into not only seeing us rebuilding, but these times are always reminding me of Octavia Butler's Parable series, and a reminder that when she built that first Earthsea community, they literally like colonized it and took her prisoner, and she's the one who burned it. And so how do we have the power to decide, even as we're building things and reframing things, when other forces try to come and take over, we actually have the power to say, I'm going to burn this down and I'm going to start something else. And then just that vision of what she did in that next iteration was something a million times greater than that initial Earthsea community. So that's what I've been kind of leaning on, is to not operate from fear of, but what if they do X, Y, and Z? They are going to do X, Y, and Z. And we still have the power to continue to do even greater things.
I love this. I love the
Mhm.
reflection on Octavia Butler choosing to burn it down and build something else. And it's the reminder that you can always like you have the blueprint. You are the person who has the thing that can always build the thing. And if you built it once, you can rebuild it, and you can learn from what happened last time, and rebuild things and do things differently. And I think a lot of times we can get stuck in this false narrative of like always starting over, as starting from zero, as if you don't have all of your life experience up to that point. And not just your life experience. I love what they also emphasize in this text is like the life experience of your ancestors. Like you have generations and generations of experience and magic and manifestation and conjuring that you bring into everything. And I think something as simple as even changing careers or things like that, it's like you can feel like you're starting from zero, but it's just like, no, like whatever you was doing before, you still bring that into the next thing that you're building. Like you still have all of that life experience and expertise and insight. So yeah, I love you bringing our attention to that as well.
You're going to say something, Ab?
I was just saying I love that, and I agree. I love the building and the building and the burning. Because I think when I think about what I want to bring to community. It is that I have just a strong, rich desire for others to feel seen and feel like loved and valued. And I know that that's something that that's possible, like through work that I do. And the thought of, I think that where there also fear gets stuck, because the fear of that burning, right? Like too, it's not something tangible like a product. It's like it's hard work, and so I think just as, but I also appreciate Professor K, the reflection of, right, what we hold and the knowledge we hold continues to be there, and so what gets burned, even if we're doing it ourselves, can be rebuilt and stronger, if anything. So.
And think about that rich fertilizer that's there, right, from that burnt earth and the things that can spring forth from it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the intentional burning of the fields that happens so that new things can be grown. I'm also thinking about that episode in Lovecraft Country when the woman burns things down, but then it's also like this ancestor that comes back to protect them, to get them through the burning fire.
Yeah,
So I think those are great visuals in that series too.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thinking about something that's growing.
What I was about to say, that was the segue. I was about to say, okay, quick tangent, but related.
Yeah.
I totally have a herb garden in the on the back patio now. And so I have the parsley that they gave me that was already some in there, and the dill that they gave me that was already some in there. But the basil that I'm growing from the seed, it's sprouted up. So I have basil growing on my back patio. So I'm very excited about that. And the people who offered it, it's the Beach Institute and the King Tisdale Cottage who are doing the was that we who are doing
We did it at the same time.
At the same time.
Because y'all both looked at it. I'm like, are y'all posting weed emojis?
No.
No, herb emojis, all herb, important herbs. They're offering another workshop on Saturday, so I'm going to go back and maybe get like another something to plant. But I'm excited I'm excited about it, and I'm thinking about, because I was rewatching the episode when I was like, I don't feel like taking care of any other living thing, and I'm so excited about it now. I'm like, oh, look at the little plant babies grow.
I'm so glad you were open to it, because I feel like I do a terrible job with my house plants. My house plants.
No, you don't.
This is the thing. Okay. My house plants are a canary in the coal mine. Right. And so when my plants are looking dry and dying, then that's when it's always at times in my life when I'm looking dry and and when I'm not taking care of my plants, I'm not taking care of myself. Right. And so that's literally why I keep them. It's a canary in the coal mine. And some of them get sacrificed. And, some of them I'm actually amazed at. There have been plants that literally have been like completely shriveled up, and I thought they were done. But then I was too lazy, or not too lazy, too busy, and didn't prioritize throwing them in the trash can. And then, but every time I walk by, I just dump water in them. And then a month later, they're growing and thriving. And so that's always also a good reminder for me that even as I go through periods in my life where I have a bad day, and that bad day might lead to a bad week, and that bad week might lead to a bad month, but it's never too late to restart with nurturing myself and knowing that I can still grow and thrive. So that's my house plants. But my garden, my veggie plants that I eat, there is something just magical. And I think because the house plants you get, or all of mine I get as a full plant, but there's something magical about having soil and putting seeds and see it grow from a little tiny seed, and you get that first little sprout, and it's oh it's here, and then those leaves grow, and then it grows into something that you then eat. It's just magical about it. And I feel like a kindergartner every time I walk by and I check in and see if anything's sprouted yet. And so it's been so exciting for me. And so I'm so glad you were open to it, and that you are also having a similar experience.
Yes, I'm very much enjoying it. And I just want to shout you out for correcting yourself when you were I was too lazy, and then you shifted to no, I was too busy. So yes, to acknowledge and no, this is not an accurate narrative. Let me give a more accurate narrative here to release the lazy narrative. So I just want to shout that out. What are you going to say, Ebony?
I was just gonna say them plants don't talk back.
This is true. And they actually, so even one of the things that I did, like again, the intuitive thing, when I was going to be out of town, the plants are in like a container, underneath it with the hole. So I just put water in the container because I'm like, okay, when it's dry, it will just absorb up the water because I wasn't going to be here so that they didn't just like, check out on me while I was going. And I was like, and the water was absorbed. So I was like, oh, look, that worked.
It took what it needed.
It took what it needed.
It
Yes.
took what it needed.
So yeah, I'm excited about that.
You about to have a whole greenhouse on your back porch.
Listen, I have, I do, you were just back there, but I do have, there's already some shelves that are already back there, and there's enough room to put more shelves if I needed to, or hang stuff from the ceiling or whatever. So
that's just all you can hang from the ceiling and everything in there because the ceiling's not super high. So.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And yeah, if we're gonna need updates. We're gonna need you to have some photos next time where you can.
I will show photos next
Show
time. I did
everybody.
post the initial sprouts I posted on IG. I need to post because there have been somewhere to grow, so I need to post some updates on Instagram as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And with all the things coming up with food lately and the media and everything, just even more reason for us to think about how goes back to community. Like who's in community? I think me and Tiff were even talking about, okay, you growing this, I got this. I'm like, I got you on lemons, oranges, apples, and now I got bananas starting already.
Plantain tree too, is that right?
Yeah. Oh no, just bananas. They're bananas. They're not plantains. Trust me, if I could do some plantains, I really would. But I don't know if California will let me.
Not quite the tropical environment to support that.
No, California really isn't tropical enough for bananas. I don't know what kind of magical dirt allowed for that beautiful blessing to happen, but I got a couple of bushels already sprouting outside. So, but chard continues to grow at my house year round. So all I got to do is go out there and snip that, strawberries, okra. So it's nice to be able to just go in the backyard, grab what I need from the earth, and allow it to fuel me and my family.
It is something. I think the food tastes best when somebody prepares it for you.
Shout out to Tiffany cooking me dinner. I domesticated my wife. Thank you.
You don't need to tell the whole world this. This is our little secret. All the people coming up to me in the streets asking me to make them vegan mofongo.
Right. With aioli and cilantro. Okay, I'll stop.
But so when somebody cooks for you is the absolute best. But when you grow your own food, like it legitimately tastes better. And I'll be so proud of myself when I'm eating my veggies that I grew. I'll be doing my Gracie's Corner veggie dance. I'll do that veggie dance. Yum, yum. Speaking of eating them up, are we ready to start talking about the yoni?
Listen. That's a great segue. Okay, I will say really quickly the symbols and the colors. So the symbols are the triple moon, bow and arrow, and menstruation. Her colors are white and silver, auspicious time, monthly full and crescent moons. They give some music. I Am a Goddess by Afua Danzo and Orange Moon by Erykah Badu. Suggested offerings include yams, adwira leaves, eggs, dried okra fruit, and anything moon related. And the alternate names Ngame and the Shining One. Okay, so let's talk about the yoni. There was a ritual with a menstrual broom. I did not do that ritual, but I was all in on the yoni art stuff, which I didn't actually make yoni art, but I have a lot of yoni art. So I was very excited too. I think we talked about this before, like what I called it unboxing the yoni. Because I had all this yoni art from 2019, which was for me, I declared that the year of the yoni, which just kept on going. But I got all of this yoni art. So I was able to put back up art that I had up before. But then also I had some prints that I'd never gotten frames for. So I got the frames for them and I put them up. So it felt really good to my room is basically like a yoni altar. So it felt really good to put those things up. But yeah, let's talk about the yoni art. And then we also can get into the prompts for the yoni.
Did you make any yoni art, Ab?
I did. Art is subjective, so
art is in the eye of the beholder.
I do. I have some hairy legs and a yoni in between.
You share I did.
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm happy to share my yoni poem, but my yoni art.
I thought you were gonna say I'm happy to share my yoni.
I'm like, I'm down.
But I did create something. I'm looking at it now, and I'm thinking it's a little explicit for the audience. I'm just kidding. I'm not sure my pussy with y'all. Um, but my pussy poem I can share.
I respect your boundaries.
Yeah. Thank you.
I
Thank you for your boundaries. As
yeah,
your person says.
thank you.
Thank you for your
Yes.
no. Thank you for your
Thank you for your
boundaries.
no.
Yes.
That's it. That's the
Yes,
one.
yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
For your
Yeah.
sacred no.
Yeah.
I initially didn't make one,
Cool.
but inspired by Professor K, I ordered some Yoni art on Etsy. But then I was actually getting some ideas about like last night when I was like coming back to this and rereading my things, and I was like, oh, I actually do think I have something I want to make, but I didn't make it between last night and today. But I did order. So. And I did lots of writing and journaling. So Ebony can share her Yoni poem, and I can share all the reflections I had on what I wanted to say to my Yoni, what my Yoni wants to say to me, and what my Yoni desires. So.
Yeah. And I gotta look at the prompts again because I feel like there is more here that I need to say to you. What does your Yoni say to you?
You need to say to me or to your Yoni?
Right. What do you, yeah, the first one is, what do you want to say to your Oni? I said, thank you.
Oh.
I love you.
Oh.
Thank you for pleasure. Thank you for giving pleasure, for birthing, for guiding me wrong in my lessons, and for guiding me right. So I kept it really simple there.
Should we go around and have everybody
Yeah.
say to your Yoni? Okay, I'll go next since I'm off mute. I'm sorry, girl. I'm sorry for putting you on punishment because you did not do anything wrong, but I was just trying to protect you. But I do want you to feel good and to have fun. I want you to heal from past hurts, physical, emotional, and spiritual. I want you to feel safe. Thank you for being patient with me while I'm working through my shit. Your liberation is coming, and coming is spelled with a U.
Yes. Okay, so we're just doing what do you want to say to your Yoni, and then we'll go through the other questions. Okay, what do you want to say to your Yoni? Thank you for all the joy and pleasure that you have given me. Thank you for the tingly sensation you give me when I am excited and turned on by something or someone. Looking forward to more orgasmic experiences of erotic empowerment and ecstasy moving forward.
Yes.
Love that.
Yes, tingly Yoni.
Yes.
Okay, next question. What does your Yoni want to say to you, Ebony?
Well, it's sad. God damn, you've had a busy life. Say, God damn, there's been a lot of busyness here. And I love you for that. You deserve pleasure and you deserve happiness. Let's me and you talk more.
That no lies detected.
No.
All right, so my Yoni had a lot to say to me. All right. Hi, I'm your Yoni. Just want to check in, make sure you know I'm here. My name's Downtown Juicy Brown. I'm a safe Black space and emancipation healing circle. I'm ready for you to put me in, coach. There's so many things I know to be true that I want to say to you. You are beautiful and caring and compassionate and brilliant and funny. You are a great listener and a great friend and an amazing auntie and a beautiful writer and a bold leader and a healer. You are creative and silly and serious and brave and nurturing and generous. Sometimes you try to deny it or deflect or use your quirkiness as a crutch, but deep down inside, you know you're sexy. I'm here to tell you that you're also worthy of love, worthy of pleasure, worthy of every good thing. I am your Yoni. Your Yoni is you. And you know your Yoni be knowing. Right now, you're struggling, trying to navigate the trichotomy of being deeply satisfied and complete with yourself and the amazing home and life you built, and with protecting yourself from hurt and pain and simply not wasting time on unworthy niggas who ain't shit, but also truly being open to experiences and possibilities. I want to tell you it's okay to protect your peace without closing your heart, to be selective without being completely shut down. I know you're still navigating how to hold boundaries without building walls. It's okay. Be gentle with yourself. That's part of the goddess work too. I've experienced a lot of pain too. I've been liberated from a uterus freaking having one baby. And now it's time for you to liberate your heart. in your mind, and to embrace that I'm not here for the pleasures of others, not something to be given or taken, but I'm here for you, boo, for your joy and your sacred pleasure. Through the power of the pussy today, I pronounce that you have radical permission. Permission to experience the pleasure you secretly and silently long for, but thought you didn't deserve. I give your muscles and your joints radical permission to release all the tension and stress and chronic pain it holds on to. Real talk. Somebody might help you out with this too. I give your heart radical permission to forgive yourself for not being perfect, for mistakes you made with incomplete information, for things you were never really responsible for. I give your heart radical permission to love yourself completely and unconditionally and to accept love in return. I give your brain radical permission to pursue your greater purpose and your destiny. I give you radical permission to say no to things that don't feel good to you and to choose yourself, to rest without guilt, ignore the items on your to-do list for a bit, even when you feel like you don't deserve it, because I know that you do. Permission to make mistakes and learn from them without beating yourself up. Permission to feel tired, hungry, horny, sad, angry, disappointed, frustrated, and to respond and give yourself what you need when those feelings arise. I give you permission to let go of old habits and patterns that no longer serve you, and to make room for more joy, fun, pleasure, excitement, and fulfillment. I am your Yoni. Your Yoni is you. Downtown Juicy Brown, safe black space, emancipation healing circle. This is the goddess energy you need to carry into every room. I give you permission to be boldly, unapologetically you. I only have a lot to say.
Oh my goodness. Take a
Oh
breath.
my
Nice
gosh.
cleansing breath.
That was powerful, Tiffany.
Yes.
All the things.
All the things. Very
All the
powerful,
things.
very beautiful. I love you really just tapping into and listening to it, to her. And I just want to check in. I mean, clearly a lot of tears came up. I think it's beautiful to just emote and release. There's cleansing in that.
Yeah.
And just check in, like as you read back through that, what are you receiving from it?
I am receiving that like that radical permission, right? That I
Yeah.
had never given myself before. And so it does feel good to like name those things
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and to move forward differently. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Mm. So much good healing.
Mm-hmm. Come on, alchemizing.
Whew.
So powerful again, just to be able to sit with and really listen to and represent and talk to yourself in that powerful way. Yeah, love it.
Not you.
Well, I wanted to be able to sit with and
Nah,
honor.
bitch, we sitting with these tears for a
Yeah,
minute.
I'm
I'm sorry.
like,
I gotta let me get myself together too. You trying to get yourself together? I'm trying to do the same. We
I'm
can
like,
we can
I
hold
do
some
want to
space for this for a minute.
let's hold the
We're not about
space
to
for
be
the
like
thing.
next, bitch.
Yeah,
Next.
we're not moving on quickly with this one. And I think the thing
No.
is, I think again, what everyone is sharing will really resonate with different people. Like I think it is powerful for us to all share like what is coming up for us and what messages we're receiving and allow other, I think it's just going to be very empowering and powerful for people to be able to feel seen and heard and understood through what's shared. So yeah, I really appreciate you sharing that and just tapping in. Like it takes a lot to tap into that and really like receive and hear it. So I think it was very powerful and amazing. And it's like, yeah, let's just be with it for a minute. We don't have to move on too quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, breathe.
That was really powerful for me to hear from you, Tiffany, because there was just so much radical truth in everything your Yoni had to say to you. And it's just powerful. You are powerful. And so I love you.
So I love you too.
All the love, all the hugs. I'm glad we got to love on and hug each other while you were here. Yes.
I'm feeling your virtual hugs and embraces over here right now. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, what I also love about this exercise, and then just, what you share, like, and then what Ebony was just saying, like, how accurate and powerful and insightful it is that, and we've talked about this before, like, so much of our lives, we're told to distrust our bodies, to distrust the pussy, to distrust the yoni, right? Like, to push all of that down. And it's like, our yoni does not actually steer us wrong. The yoni is not the issue, right? Like, patriarchy is the issue, predatory behavior is an issue, but like our yoni is not the issue. And so I think there is something powerful in this exercise of really tapping in and remembering, like, our yoni tells us the truth, right? Like, our yoni tells us we know what feels good, we know what does not feel good. And part of it is negotiating like the power dynamics of when we can protect ourselves, protect our boundaries and things like that. And so I think, again, it's just this powerful exercise of leaning into and trusting and listening to that part of ourselves, both physical and metaphysical, and unpacking and peeling back all the layers of all the ways we've been told not to trust it, or that it's staring us the wrong way, or that it's, or the shame and blame and guilt and all of the things that get piled onto that. So I think it's just a really powerful exercise in, like, when you really do kind of connect and tap into that aspect of yourself, like, there are truths to be shared there. There are insights that are disclosed to us, and reminding ourselves that, like, we can trust the yoni. Like, I've shared before the story of when during the pandemic, I had a lover that came to see me, and like, cause I really was like, I needed the D. And I felt guilty because I was like, oh my goodness, I'm about to get COVID because like this man I got on the plane and I would be exposed and all this kind of stuff. And it was like all of this like punishment. It was like when I was processing it with the therapist, she's like, why do you associate pleasure with punishment? Right. And so she's like, when have you done something for pleasure and the results were negative? And I'm like, never. Like, anytime I pursue my pleasure, I've not had any negative impacts. The times that I've had punishment or consequences is when I override my pleasure or override my intuition. But it was something that I had not consciously been aware of until she helped me name it. Like, you're associating when you have pleasure that there has to be some kind of punishment. And of course, that's like church stuff and other kinds of things. But it was powerful for her to name that because it helped me really lean heavier into the pleasure. Like, my pleasure never steers me wrong. Like, I enjoy living a pleasure-centered life because it never leads me in the wrong direction. If I try to do something I don't want to do, or accommodate somebody I don't want to accommodate, or override the intuition, like, there's always consequences to that. But there has never been negative consequences to me pursuing pleasure or letting my intuition guide me. And so I think this is just a reminder, like, again, like, the yoni knows, and how do we just cultivate trusting our yonis more, trusting our pleasure more, trusting our intuition more, instead of, like, how we've been conditioned to override it. Yes, exactly. Exactly. So yeah. Okay, so how are we? Are we ready for me to share mine? Okay, so which one are we on? What does your yoni want to say to? No, we did. What does your yoni
And
want
what
to
does
say
your
to
yogi
you?
want to say to you?
This
Yeah.
okay. Um, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of your erotic empowerment journey. I'm impressed with your ability to pause and pivot and adjust as needed. And I'm so proud of the way that you do not stay stuck when you make mistakes. You recover quickly and you keep it moving.
I love that.
That.
I am proud of you too. Your yoni is proud of you, and I am proud of you too. And it has been a journey, going from being bound by all of the institutions that you were bound by, like the church and marriage and these academic institutions, and watching your liberation journey has been, I'm so lucky to be the little sister, to be able to watch you and to be able to learn from your journey. And so you're like the Harriet Tubman, leading everyone to P Valley and to liberate themselves from all of these institutions. So your yoni's proud of you, and your baby sister's proud of you too.
Yes to the liberation of P Valley. Love it.
Okay, the last one was what does your yoni desire?
And Flo,
My yoni desires to be seen, to be trusted, to be loved, and to bear witness to magic.
I love that. I love it. All right, y'all ready for my monologue?
We're ready.
I pulled in that part of my book for you because it is a part of what my yoni desires. So I pulled that in
We'll
too.
get a chance to hear it.
Yeah.
The audience, the broader audience will get a chance to hear
the audience will hear it. All right. I am my yoni. My yoni is me. My name is Downtown Juicy Brown. I'm a safe Black space and emancipation healing circle. I desire having someone magically appear on my doorstep. The goddess Oshun had a baby with the 11th great grandfather of Idris Elba. And then Malcolm X had a baby with Josephine Baker. And then those two had a baby, sprinkled with the spiritual essence of Erica, the visionary poetry of Lord, the audacity of Eartha, the gritty lyricism of Nas, the psychic forecasting abilities of Octavia, the vulnerability of Lauren, the wisdom of Baldwin, the fearlessness of Ali, the soulfulness of D'Angelo, the unbought and unbossedness of Chisholm, the raw sensual genius of Prince, the anarchist in Hobie Brown, the fierce feminism of Hooks, the quirky stagger of Three Stacks, the psychedelic trip of George, the compassion of the Christ, the enlightenment of the Buddha, and the magic of every Black girl who ever lived. I want him standing on my porch right now so I can show him my house, give him a glimpse into my world. I want him to hold my hand and to kiss me and to hug me. I desire a good dick down, to be fucked and feel waves of pleasure rippling through my entire body. I want somebody to hold me and send goosebumps down my arm with gentle kisses on my neck and shoulder. I am my yoni and my yoni is me. My name is Downtown Juicy Brown, safe Black space, emancipation healing circle. I want to be worshipped and adored, to have someone pay attention to all my wants and needs, to be prioritized and satisfied. I desire fine dining and concerts and trips around the world, long weekends lounging around in pajamas and doing puzzles, saying nothing and everything. I desire someone who makes me laugh and who wipes away my tears, someone who gives me my alone time when needed. I desire deep, meaningful conversations about politics and poetry and prose, fun without blurred lines, enthusiastic consent, boundaries never violated. I desire scalp and neck and shoulder and back and clitoral massages, long kisses and gentle caresses, hair pulled, back arched. I desire sex that feels safe and deeply satisfying, dependable dick, generous lick, mind-blowing orgasms that make me scream. I am my yoni, and my yoni is me, Downtown Juicy Brown, safe Black space, emancipation healing circle. I desire a space to explore without shame, without pleasure, without fear. I desire a sacred obelisk erected towards the heavens to honor my greatness, to offer mutual liberation, protection, presence, and reverence, not domination or conquest. I'm not interested in a weapon or tool. I desire a healing staff that knows how to hold space, not just take up space in my world. That is what my yoni desires.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, man.
How did that one feel for you to share?
You know, that one is, I thought about it because like I feel comfortable sharing everything with y'all because y'all know all my business anyway. And I was like, you really about to go on here, right? Because you're about to be famous, right? Like you're 212.
You're already famous.
Your 212 IG followers are about to become 212 million. And so do you want everybody in this world to know about this pediatrician whose yoni wants to be digged down? And I was like, well, you know, if we're gonna do this, like I want to do it in a way that's authentic. And knowing, like you said, kind of with some of the other things that you know, we're all on our journeys and we're doing this as a way to heal ourselves. But the only reason we're publishing this is to help others on their healing journey as well. And so I think, you know, sharing those things that like don't like rejecting the respectability politics of like a pediatrician can't talk about getting digged down. Like how are we sustaining the world population if nobody's getting digged down out here? So there is no pediatrics without orgasms, and that is my TED talk.
Yes, to all of those things.
Word. Bring my mic down. Word. My phallic.
Hey.
That I was like, you don't get any time today. You're out of this frame.
Bring that obelisk back.
It's all about the yoni. It's all about
That's
the yoni.
right. You don't get to be saying it's not about you. Right? Get out of here.
But another thing that I was thinking about, like just going into the, and I've been, because we read this a couple weeks ago, but didn't meet. So I've been kind of thinking about it for a couple weeks. I needed a few weeks to kind of process it. But was thinking back to that Jacob the Face Reader, which I don't remember if we've talked about it on here or not, but to our viewers, 2 years ago when I had my hysterectomy, my sister who had met Jacob the Face Reader at the crystal shop that we were in last week and had done a reading with him.
No way. Full circle.
Full circle, full circle. And so she was sharing some of her reflections from her reading with him. And I was like, oh, I want to do this. And so I did a reading while I was out on, I was about to say maternity leave, but after my surgery. And he said a lot of things to me that were helpful and healing on my journey. But one of the, he really caught my tea. Like everything that he said was really accurate about me and things that he would have not have gotten from the context of us meeting, that like he really was reading from me. And one of the things that he said was that I was a wild woman, and that I was meant to be a wild woman, and I've been wild in certain aspects of my life and being adventurous and exploring. But when it came to sex and sexuality, I wasn't being a wild woman, and that was that bullshit. And it was something that didn't really resonate with me. I was like, I really feel like I'm supposed to be a wild woman, but like, how is it possible that he was right about 17 things and wrong about this one thing? So let me just sit with it. And I'm not ready to be a wild woman yet, but one day I think I'm going to be ready. And so I think it's like if there is a wild woman in me, in my yoni, what does she desire, and kind of reflecting on those things. And I've been coming up with like lists of things. So I don't remember if we talked about this online or offline, but through Goddess Glow Up, I've made a commitment to go into Sex Down South in September. And so I've been trying to think about other things that I can do that feel safe for me, to kind of start leaning into my wild woman era. And, I was waiting until I was in my 60s. But with everything that's going on today, like tomorrow isn't promised, so you should be a hoe today. And so I'm like ready to lean in and get started. And the journey of 1,000 miles begins with this one step.
I love this. So shout out to Sex Down South, because I always call that the gateway for me of me, like in terms of my own erotic empowerment journey. So what I love about you going to Sex Down South is that you really like, there's such a broad spectrum of things, but you don't have to do all the things, right? So even this notion of being a wild woman, like you get to decide, you and your yoni get to decide what that looks like for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so sometimes it's like we're imagining that it has to be a thing, but if like the thing, I mean, it goes back even to where our starting point of the desires, right? Like if it, like whatever wild woman energy you're stepping into, it needs to be the juicy, tingly thing that feels good, not something that you feel like, I don't want to do that. So just remembering like the things that apply to the other desires that we were talking about also apply here. And I remember for me, I think going the gap between where I started in terms of erotic disempowerment and the church and all of the shame associated with the body and sex and all those kinds of things. And then when I got happily married and delightfully divorced, I'm like, I'm gonna be swinging from the chandeliers, right? But there was a gap, like even if you desire to be wild, whatever wild looks like, for me, there was a gap between like what my actual experience was and all of this programming that I received. Like I had to do a lot of deprogramming to get to the place of, again, deciding even what swinging from the chandeliers meant for me, right? Which could mean any number of different things. So I know like for me when I first went out on like a real date after I was divorced, I met this guy, I was traveling for a conference, and went into this guy. He was a business owner. So I went into his business and I was asking about like stuff to do there. And so he was like, oh, I would be happy to just take you out, show you around or whatever. So we exchanged numbers. And I remember, now I'm like completely legally divorced and all of this kind of stuff. And I remember like feeling so much tension, like in my neck and my shoulders of like, I'm going out with a man who is not my husband, right? Like, so in my mind, I'm like, I'm swinging from the chandeliers, but my body was like, girl, we ain't ready to be doing all of this kind of stuff, right? And so we go out, and he was a great person for like that time in my life, because he like clocked my tea. He like fed me first because we got to eat. He took me to a comedy show because he was like, you seem like you was a little uptight and might need to like laugh and loosen up a little bit. And then we like went to this lounge, and then we walked on, the city was on a river. So we walked on like this boardwalk. So I'm like leaning against the banister of the boardwalk. And so he's standing, like my back is against the banister and he's like standing in front of me. And he says, "Is it okay if I kiss you?" And like, this is the first time any man has ever asked permission to kiss me, right? Like they either leaned in or what, I've kissed plenty of people in my life and nobody ever asked permission to kiss me on the front end. So that was just like a paradigm shifting, like a thing that I needed that I did not know I needed until I received it. And also a reminder, like the universe knows what you need, like the yoni knows what you need. So like that was not something I could articulate I needed until I actually received it. Like, oh, wow, people have assumed access to me and I've assumed that people had access to me, and it never occurred to me that they should ask before they had access to me, right? Like it was really like a mind-blowing kind of consent, and it was very sexy. Like I think sometimes people are like, well, it's clunky to ask, and it was like, it was so sexy for him to ask. And so I said yes. So he kissed me and like we're kissing, and then he paused and then he checked in and he was like, "Are you still good? Like, are we okay with still," he didn't assume like that the consent was blanket and forever. He like paused and checked in. And that was like, what? Like he asked and then he checked in. And we talked about it afterwards. And he was like, I'm just trying to put myself in your position. Like you just met me, we're out of you're out of town. Your back is literally like against the wall. I didn't want you to feel pinned in. So like all of this thoughtfulness that is just like, so it was just a beautiful, very healing moment for me of something that I needed that I didn't know I needed until I received it. But then also I could check in with my body. Like by the end of that date, the yoni was tingling, the yoni was juicy, the yoni was was like, yes, I want this. But I still wasn't in a place where like the today me would have been like, we'd have been getting it in, like I'd have gone home with him or whatever. But then I'm like, I'm at this academic conference, all of my coworkers are here. I didn't even want them to see him walk me into the hotel, let alone, you know what I mean? So I was still concerned about appearances in a way then that I'm totally not now. But I say that to say there is like a learning curve and then also like a comfort curve of like what you're okay with. And the thing is like not pushing yourself to be uncomfortable, but reflecting on what makes you uncomfortable. And it's usually not the yoni was not uncomfortable. The yoni was like, let's go get it now. But in my mind, I'm like, well, what will people think if they see me with this dude or if he comes to my room or whatever. So so I say that to say like, you can give yourself time. So now I wouldn't think twice about that. But that was like 2017 maybe that happened. It was like right after the divorce was legal. And now it's 2025. So that's like, it's been 7 years of like just having different kinds of experiences where consent is at the center, where pleasure is at the center, where it's like, do what I want to do, don't do anything that I don't want to do. And then figuring out and seeing things and being like, okay, like the yes, no, maybe. It's like, yes, I definitely want to do this. No, I definitely don't want to do this. Maybe I'll try that. And there's been some maybes that I'm like, I'm so glad I tried that. Please and thank you. More of that, please. And then there's been some things that I tried that I'm like, oh, actually, I'm not really feeling that. I'm glad I tried it, but it's a no for me. So I say all that to say, coming back to Sex Down South, Sex Down South. So this was not a person that was associated with Sex Down South, but Sex Down South also gave the gift of like, again, a wide variety of things where you don't have to do all the things. There's no expectation to do all the things, but you can learn more about what the options are and like explore the options. Like you can explore them intellectually, you can explore them, in other in other ways as well.
Hands-on
So,
practicum.
so there's like, it's like literal sex educators. There are people who get continuing education credits from going, right? Like it's legit sex educators there, as well as sex enthusiasts, as well as sex workers, right? Like it's a full range of people who are there. And there's like book exhibits for for us bibliophiles and sapiosexuals. There are demonstrations and you can watch demonstrations or you can participate in demonstrations, right? But you don't have to like feel like you have to get there and do all the things. So I love it because I think it's a space where you get in and you do what you're curious about or what's comfortable to you, but you don't like, nobody's looking at you like, well, why aren't you doing all the things, right? Like, so it's a full range of people there. But what also was helpful about it was like, once I saw how broad the range was, I was like, oh, I can get in wherever I'm comfortable in that range. Like, you don't have to go from 0 to 100, whatever that looks like for you. So it's a beautiful space. Oh, and I should shout out for people who are seeing this before September 2025, that I have an affiliate link and coupon for Sex Down South. So when you go to register, if you put in the word Catherine, my name, Kathryn, then you will get a discount for your registration for Sex Down South. So if y'all want to check out Sex Down South 2025, you can use that discount code.
See y'all at Sex Down South. And if you are the grandson of Oshun and the 11th great grandson. If you're that person I described, I strongly encourage you to meet me at Sex Down South.
Yes. Don't just show up on her front door. Show up at Sex Down South.
Love it. Okay, any other reflections on this? Okay, so we're talking about the wild woman thing. Oh, and I will say when I got a reading, one of the things that I got insight from was not staying in things longer than I need to, right? Like holding on to like recognize that every relationship has seasons. And again, as long as it's pleasurable, as long as it's mutually pleasurable, then stay in it. But if at any point it's not pleasurable for the other person or it's not pleasurable for you, like let it go and keep it moving. It was like a lot of the times you get got because you're trying to hold on to something that is like, if the feeling is not there anymore, like it's okay to release it and let it go and move on. So that has helped me a lot with just like embracing the seasons. And that's like with platonic relationships and friendships, as well as romantic relationships, as well as business connections. It's just like, when everybody is thriving in it, then keep riding the wave. And then when it no longer works for multiple parties or both parties, like it's okay to release it. It's not a failure. It's not a whatever. It's just like embrace the ebb and flow of the seasons. And so that was really helpful for me to not like hold on to stuff longer than I needed to hold on to. And then it eliminates a lot of like resentments and all kinds of other stuff where you're just like, I knew it was time. Like that last time was like, but you had to try one more again. So that was really helpful for me for that. Okay, so for mine, what does my yoni desire? One was care in the form of like yoni steams and yoni tea. So I do have a yoni steam thing that I'm always like, I'm gonna steam every month, and I have not been doing that. So I'm trying to get back on that. And then I do have some good teas, whether it's like period teas or just general, like I have this tea called erotic tea. That is a nice kind of juicy tea. So that's
That
the
sounds like
care.
that should be my Sex Down South name.
Listen, you get to choose whatever you want your name to be. But you already have you could use any of the,
magic.
yeah, you have well, no, not in the Afro magic. I mean, you just have multiple names for the yoni. You can use any of those in that space as well. But you can have all the teas you want, all the teas, all the names you want.
And
And then
Emancipation Healing Circle.
yes,
That's your favorite.
meet at the Emancipation Healing Circle, please and thank you. And then in terms of pleasure, oral pleasure, to be touched, tasted, overflowing, orgasmic wetness, and sacred sexuality were the pleasure desires for my yoni. Okay, anything else before we switch gears to the cards?
No, I think this was good. And even though I definitely did miss us connecting, and so we got to figure out a way to even do like 10-minute check-ins when we can't do our full sessions. But I also think because all of my reflections, I didn't do that first week. They've come over the weeks. And so I think my yoni needed some time to catch up too.
Yeah.
And I needed some time to catch up to like really sit with it and be in a space to be able to express things. So I am glad that I had that time. And so yeah. And I'm glad we're reunited and it feels so good.
Okay. This was beautiful.
Me too. Yeah, it was.
All right, Professor K, I feel like the professor of kink should pull the community card.
Okay, will do. Mhm. Too hard for me and that one for the community. We'll do the community card first. The community card was Sekhmet, Wounded Healer, which is number 15.
We definitely pulled her before. Yes. I did
Mhm.
lots of reflections on her before.
Mhm.
So go ahead and read it and let's see.
So this is Goddess of Wounded Healers, Egypt, Temple Warriors, Element Fire, Sekhmet is the fierce ancient Egyptian goddess of war, the sun, and healing. She carries life force in her palm with the power to create or destroy. We were even talking about that earlier with the burning it down and rebuilding. The guidance, heal thyself. Everyone gets your best except you. Are you a healer among your tribe? Or you are a healer among your tribe. Stop putting your needs last. Embodiment. When did you decide to become a martyr? Take a breath. Wounded healers hold sadness, rage, and fears of brokenness. Being a warrior isn't a choice for our beloved wasn't a choice for our beloved foremothers. They did the best they could, but being a goddess warrior for us is knowing that we have the choice not to fight all the time. Deep dive questions. What are your swords, the weapons you use to fight? And what are your shields, the ways you defend yourself? Dare to lay the burdens down along with your swords and your shields. Goddess declaration, it is safe to put myself first. Clock the tick. Okay, anything coming up for you guys for that one, for the community card?
I did a lot of reflecting on this when I pulled it before. But what is calling to me that wasn't calling the first time when I was doing a reflection is putting down the sword and the shield. And so I think that's something I need to reflect more on and like stop fighting and let the ancestors and the universe do the fighting for you and like put your armor down. And actually like that's one of the things that during my therapy session today when I was doing my EMDR, that was one of the messages that was sent to me was put your armor down.
Yeah. You do be
I
like
love
this.
Ebony's like, yeah, period.
Right.
I'm
This,
that
this tip all day.
is Ebony sent me a meme once, this is probably a couple years ago, of like a crab holding a knife. Like this you.
This you, boo.
Like, yep, that is me.
All
The
that
shell and
y'all-
the pincers ain't enough.
Cancer.
Live footage.
Yes, live footage.
I love this one. I'm reflecting on how important it is to be in community to do this, right? Like, because you need support to do the putting yourself first. So like even again, going back to this weekend, like I was able to engage in my erotic empowerment practices in Atlanta because my sister was there with the kids so that I could do the other things. And so it's like having a beautiful, beloved community to support when we need to rest, when we need to do different things to help carry the load so that's not all on us.
Yeah, I like the aspect of community for sure, because it's like we want to give ourselves the best, but when the people around us don't recognize that they continue to pull, and we don't have the right language or boundaries to put a stop, it just becomes an ugly cycle. So
well, I think this is where community can also be helpful with helping to like name and articulate and reinforce boundaries. So yeah, because it's just like if you let people pull, they're gonna pull. Like, and it's interesting. I could think about this too, like in the context of the marriage. There were times when I'm doing all this thing, and I'm like, dude, you don't feel no kind of shame for watching me do all of this, and you just sitting there watching. And it's like, even if you complain about it, they're like, I'd rather deal with you nagging than actually step up and do something, right? And so it's like, as long as I was allowing the extraction was not going to stop. It's like you gotta, like you said, you gotta name and reinforce the boundary, or people will continue. And that's like in, again, multiple relationships, whether friendships, romantic relationships, certainly in the workplace, right? That kind of institutional bondage, and Audre Lorde calls it psychic milking, right? Like they're going to extract as much as they can from you. And then in the workplace, it's oftentimes while trying to tell you you're not doing enough, you're the thing, you're the energy that's keeping the whole thing going. So yeah, that part. Okay, and then the one I pulled for myself is
Ebony, did you want to reflect on?
Oh, did you want to say something?
No, I did. I'm
Okay.
good. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh, sorry. Okay, so then I pulled Bokumu, Soul Forgiveness, which is number 28. I feel like we've pulled this one before too. Okay, Goddess of Soul Forgiveness, Bantu, Temple Lovers, Element Bush. For Ngombe Bantu, Goddess Mbokumu, Mbokumu, yes, was the first woman. Her father, Okongo, the cranky supreme god, put Mbokumu and her loud children. And yeah, I remember this too. I feel like I'm the one who pulled it last time too.
You and your loud kid.
Also, I don't know if y'all noticed, but one of my kids like came in trying to ask me all the questions while I was doing it. And I'm like, okay, you see, I'm doing this thing. But the question was, who was the hardest to give birth to of the kids? So I'm assuming they're talking to one of their siblings. And I'm like, I don't remember. I mean, I remember giving birth to them, but I couldn't put a scale on who was hardest or not. But anyway, so that happened. So dismiss them to earth. The guidance. Who do you need to forgive? Let it go and reclaim yourself. Forgiveness is a gift of freedom for you and from you. Embodiment. You can't rush forgiveness. You have to feel it to heal it. Feel the pain, hurt, grief, rage, and despair. Take time with your heart. Forgiveness is a higher vibration frequency than the pain you must allow yourself to feel. Unforgiveness colors your world with lack, mistrust, and resentment. You start to see everything through victim-colored glasses, but forgiveness does not have to include reconciliation. Start with self-forgiveness. Say out loud, I forgive myself with love. Goddess declaration, I forgive and free myself. I forgive and free others. For me, this is still me and my ongoing, but hopefully will be resolved at some point, relationship with mothering and motherhood. And like, 21-year-olds should not be making decisions that are going to affect 45 and 65-year-olds. So yes, the mothering thing is an ongoing thing. So and I like this has been a thing for a couple of years now, and I've been and up to like today journaling about like I'm really trying to like have a paradigm shift with religion so that this does not just feel like a thing that of like a regret resentment kind of thing, but I can really be like, okay, like there is a higher purpose in this thing that happened, and how can I tap into that, and how can I show up and do this? And I think I'm practicing doing it in a way that does not feel as extractive, going back to the extractive thing. But yeah, it's like there's some kind of mental spiritual thing that I need to work through there, because I don't think it's just, it's not about the kids, right? Like I think it's about the archetype of the mother and other kinds of things. So I haven't sorted that out yet. I'm still in a place of just expressing and being honest with where I am about it, but I haven't like the alchemy hasn't alchemized there yet. Yeah.
So, I think, you pulled it today and we're back at our Black Girl Magic. Some breakthroughs might be happening this week. Mhm. Forgiveness though was one of the other things that I was reflecting on, both in like what my Yoni wanted for me, and what she wanted to tell me, but also things I was reflecting on in my therapy session today. So I'm glad that I now get an invitation to continue to like do a deeper dive in soul forgiveness throughout the week this week.
I love that. Okay, who's pulling next?
I will go next because I pulled the card I pulled for Tiffany last week, which is number 14 at that thing. Isn't that what I pulled for you last week, Tiff? Okay. So last week, while Tiffany was, I think, getting ready to get on the plane, I was holding some meditation time, and I thought of her and said, let me pull a card and then send it to her way. So I pulled number 14, which is a Tete. She's the goddess of worthiness. From Oromo in Ethiopia. The temple is warriors and the element is bush. Great goddess Hetete, queen of the gods, is a fierce protector of women and girls for the Oromo people of Ethiopia. Their guidance is stop hiding, shrinking, and playing small. Stand tall like the majestic sycamore tree. You are mighty. Life does not need to be perfect for you to embrace your own perfection. The embodiment is you matter. Worthiness is your veins. Accept yourself now. Your birth certificate says that we need your overflowing magic, joy, and vulnerability. And most importantly, we need you. You are deserving and worthy. The beautiful parts of you that everyone likes are worth loving. The parts that you or others dislike are worth loving too. Your creator loves you unconditionally. And the goddess declaration is, I matter.
Clock the tea.
Clock the tea.
Well, I love that you pulled that for Tiffany, and I love that you pulled it for yourself because
Uh-huh.
both are true.
Yeah. Yep. I was like, oh, look at this. I had just put it back because I left it out. So that way, when I continued my meditation, she would come to mind and I could send her some positive energy. So when it was time just now to pull, I put it back in and I shuffled a bunch and then I pulled it and I just smiled like, okay, the message is coming back. So let me listen.
I love it. I
Mhm.
think I definitely still need to, again, that was coming up for me in my reflections last week. And that probably is what brought it into my reflections, was you sending me that card as I was doing that. But clearly I need to, because all these cards be not just for one person, but
All of us. Let's go ahead and pull our next card.
yes. So the card that I pulled was Ngame of the week. And so we just learned all about Ngame, but a reminder, this is our goddess of desire, Ashanti Akan, in the temple of conjurers and the element of air, triple moon goddess of the Ashanti. Every new day, this mother goddess rebirths the sun, shooting life into us, and her moon bow, her lunar rays illuminate souls. And the Ngame's guidance is dream bigger. Puny desires constrict you. Your desires create new life, so allow them to flow boldly. The embodiment. What do you really desire? Get specific, see it, smell it, feel it, call it now. What you desire desires you. Does your desire flow from love or fear? Manifestations that come from fear-based desires keep you safe and small. Desires that come from your soul expand your world. And the goddess declaration is, what I desire desires me. And so I think it's interesting that I've been sitting with this goddess for like 3 weeks now because we haven't met. And she like, I ain't done with you.
Right. Keep me in mind. All that poetry he was putting out there too. So that was right on time.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's been so great to reconnect with you all. And looking forward. Does anybody have any? Oh, I guess we can bye friends. We can stop recording and then
Bye.
we'll check in with each other to make sure we're all available next week. But
Yeah.